Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be teaching you about cutting cards for debate. I've put together a research organizer. You don't have to have this, but this organizer that you can make a copy of is very useful. Um, I've got affirmative cards in red and negative cards in blue. I have a resolution up here at the top in the United States. Homework ought to be banned. So I'll be gathering information for the affirmative on the first page and on the next page for the negative. So as you research and you find articles that seem useful and helpful in your research, you will ultimately find something that you want to add into your research that you think you could use in your debate. So I've found a website, an article from the American Institutes for Research. This does homework improve academic achievement? If so, how much is best? By Harris Cooper, PhD. Now, part of doing your due diligence as a debater is to locate information on your authors and make sure that they're legitimate. So I looked up Harris Cooper. He is a professor at Duke University, and lots of good stuff. This guy has published information on psychology, on education. He works for a renowned university. He's a good source of information. So that checks out. So the article itself, though, as I'm reading, there are certain sections of this that are useful in different places. So, for example, this is what the research says. I'm going to copy this chunk of the article. Now, a true debater, if we had more time, they would take the entire article most likely and do this. I'm going to ask you to cut a card from a portion of the articles that you find. So when I say cut a card, that means you copy and paste into here, word for word, the what you've got inside of that article. Okay, so I've done this, and let me just make sure I've got it size 9. I prefer the font Calibri to read on a computer screen, so nice and small. I'm going to change it to single spaced, just take up as least amount of space as possible, and I've got my information in here. Now the next step in cutting the card is getting your little source citation down. So I have, does homework improve academic achievement? If so, how much is best? By Harris Cooper, PhD. You know what? I got all sorts of good information right here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that in. But look, it's huge and weird looking, so I'm going to change it to size 9. I'm going to change it to single spaced. It's still, the spacing is all wonky. So I'm going to click this add space and then remove those spaces actually. And that should get rid of some of that extra space. And sure enough, it did. So I have the title, does homework improve academic achievement? I'm going to change the font color to black. Make the title maybe a bit bigger, by Harris Cooper, PhD. I'm going to add in some credentials for him. I found that, let's see, received his PhD in social psych. Actually, here, Hugo L. Blomquist, Professor of Psychology and Neuroscience at Trinity College of Arts and Sciences. Okay, he has a Duke email address, which is interesting. But it says Trinity College of Arts and Sciences, so that's underneath his name. I'm going to go ahead and use this as his credentials. Copied and pasted that in there. Make sure the formatting is all good to go. Actually, I'm just going to do clear format, clear formatting, make it nice and easy. So size 9, Calibri. So basically I've got my source info up there. Now I'm going to go through and underline and highlight information. My first job is to underline, and I'm going to underline things that I think seem useful to supporting my resolution. There is some stuff in here that does not support my resolution. So, for example, they say that students assigned homework in second grade did better on math tests. Third and fourth graders did better on English skills tests. Da 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 da. We've got this thing. It says 45 less rigorous correlational studies found little or no relationship between homework and achievement for elementary school students. Okay, I'm going to underline that. The average correlation between time spent on homework and achievement was substantial for secondary school students. I don't think I want to include that in this affirmative side, but that could be something that I wanted to include, maybe even in the negative side. For elementary students, though, it hovered around no relationship at all. So this is important because, this is important here to underline what you think is important and then highlight what you feel like you would actually say in your debate. Like, what is the part of this that you would actually use in your debate? So I'm going to highlight in yellow here. Studies suggest little or no relationship between homework and achievement for elementary school students. That's the money phrase right there, okay? So the tagline is, though some studies show homework can be helpful in later grades, studies show in elementary homework is not useful. Boom. And I've cut my first card. I've got a tagline that kind of gives me the basic idea. I've got a chunk of text that I've read through and underlined key information. I've highlighted what I feel like I could use as a money line in my actual research. I've got my source information. I've got my author's credentials. The one last thing I didn't add is a link to the website itself, so I could get back to that source if necessary. Okay, so boom, I'm going to add that. It's a link. That's fine. So there you go. You've cut your first card, and I would like you to do the same for your research today. Don't cut cards just to cut cards. Cut cards to understand the topic and to help uncover the truth about why your resolution should be affirmed and why your resolution should be negated. Godspeed.